Hello, my name is Reagan Mann, and I am talking about Julian of Norwich. So, Julian of Norwich was presumed to be alive from 1342 to 1416 in Norwich, Norfolk, England, where she resided as an anchoress in St. Julian's Church. A little fun fact, Julian is not her real name and instead a name that was given to her as she served in St. Julian's Church for most of her life. Most of Julian's life is completely unknown, but we do know that as an anchoress, she spent most of her life largely secluded in a small room attached to the church, where she would sometimes offer spiritual guidance to those seeking it through her little window out into the world. According to julianofnorwich.org, at that time, Norwich was struggling with plague and famine, so it is presumed that she must have provided comfort to a lot of struggling people. Julian is most notably made a part of Christian theology through her book, The Revelations of Divine Love, which is thought to have been the first book written by a woman in English and to have survived over the years. This book comes with a beautiful story. On May 8th, 1373, when Julian was about 30, she laid in what she presumed to be her deathbed as she suffered from an unnamed but painful illness resulting in paralysis. According to juliansvoice.com, she laid in prayer, waiting for death to overtake her, when suddenly she was miraculously completely healed. Suddenly, she saw Christ bleeding out profusely on the cross and was then plunged into a series of 16 visions, further explaining the deep suffering and love of Christ. The Revelations of Divine Love is the book that Julian wrote about these 16 visions. There are actually two versions of this book. The first is much shorter and details the visions, and the second is much longer and also includes her meditations and further reflections. Many of the early manuscripts have been lost, but we do have 14th and 15th century copies of both of these works, which have been pieced together by scholars over the years. The writings of Julian of Norwich come from a place and time which is in many ways still highly relevant to us today, both in the longing for understanding the width and breadth of God's love, while also accepting that this is the God of mystery. Julian's writings are also filled with themes of physical pain, divine comfort, and the utmost of devotion to whole life servitude. According to julianofnorwich.com, many poets and modern-day theologians, historians, and scholars have found her work to be inspiring, both in lyrical and love-filled language and in her sound theological reflection. I can see the application of this work both in opportunities for Lectio Divina, in reflections, or in further study as we dive deeper into the history of our community.